Zoe Kravitz may have found stardom on her own terms, but she never expected to be at the epicenter of one of Hollywood's most shocking breakups. Her mother Lisa Bonet's divorce from Jason Momoa. For over a decade, Lisa and Jason captivated fans with the kind of ethereal romance that seemed immune to typical celebrity pitfalls. Their deep-rooted affection, blended family dynamic, and easygoing charm set them apart in an industry that's often driven by scandal and flashy headlines. But as Zoe soon discovered, even the most picture-perfect relationship can harbor turmoil that remains hidden, sometimes even from the people closest to it. In this video, we're peeling back the layers on Lisa and Jason's split through Zoe's eyes, revealing how her front-row seat and insider insights shift our entire understanding of what really went wrong. Zoe has always projected an air of individuality and creative freedom. She grew up oscillating between the worlds of her father, rock icon Lenny Kravitz, and her mother, Lisa Bonet, best known for her iconic role as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show. From an early age, Zoe was immersed in a universe where artistry, bohemian spirit, and a certain disregard for rigid convention were the norm. By the time she hit her 20s, Zoe's name carried weight not just because of her famous parents, but because of the mark she had already begun to make on film, fashion, and music. Through all of that, she remained extremely close to Lisa, so close, in fact, that she grew accustomed to confiding in her about everything from career choices to personal struggles. That closeness was tested when Jason Momoa entered Lisa's life in 2005. Zoe was just shy of adulthood, and Lisa's new romantic partner immediately became a larger-than-life figure. Jason, a rising star with a commanding presence and a humor-filled warmth, quickly bonded with Zoe. Friends remarked on how naturally he slipped into a supportive role, especially when it came to creating a nurturing environment for both Zoe and, later, the two children he and Lisa had together. Many onlookers assumed that Zoe viewed him like a second father, but the dynamic was actually more nuanced. Zoe adored her biological dad, Lenny Kravitz, and yet she also found Jason to be a calming, almost protective force, someone who truly wanted the best for her. From the outside, the entire family appeared to flow seamlessly. Lisa and Lenny's daughter, Zoe, had an amazing half-sibling bond with Lola Iolani Momoa and Nakoa Wolf Manakawapo Namakiha Momoa, born in 2007 and 2008, respectively. Photos of the five of them, Lisa, Jason, Zoe, Lola, and Nakoa Wolf, surfaced on social media from time to time, generating thousands of likes and comments praising their blended family goals. Interviews painted a picture of harmony. Jason praised Lenny as a brother. Lenny spoke warmly about Jason, and Lisa appeared to be at peace with how life had evolved. Meanwhile, Zoe quietly observed all of this, undoubtedly pleased to see her mom so happy after years of forging her own path under the pressures of Hollywood fame. Behind the scenes, though, subtle stressors built. Jason's career had begun to skyrocket, propelled by roles in projects like Game of Thrones and, later, his blockbuster turn as Aquaman in the DC Extended Universe. While Lisa had chosen to live with a lower profile, focusing on personal passions and her children, Jason was diving headlong into the whirlwind of big-budget sets, global press tours, and the larger-than-life persona that comes with being an action star. Even though Zoe was forging a Hollywood path of her own, she recognized the toll this demanding schedule could take on relationships. She'd seen it happen time and again with people she knew in the industry, not to mention what her own mother had experienced in the spotlight. For a while, Zoe tried to maintain optimism. She believed that if anyone could keep a relationship steady under these conditions, it was her mother, whose grounded spirituality and fierce independence had always been her trademarks. And at first, Jason also seemed determined not to lose himself in the Hollywood machine. He spoke openly about cherishing family time, about missing his kids and Lisa whenever he was away on set. Zoe admired his dedication and reminded him to take breaks whenever possible. After all, she had inherited the follow-your-energy mindset from her mother, a sense that health, happiness, and emotional well-being mattered infinitely more than chasing every career opportunity. But cracks began appearing in ways no one outside the family circle could see. Jason's stardom demanded longer and longer absences. Movie sets in far-off locales meant he missed birthdays, school events, even family holidays. Lisa, though no stranger to fame herself, hadn't quite anticipated the magnitude of the blockbuster lifestyle. In Zoe's eyes, her mother tried to remain patient and supportive, but there were moments where Lisa confided in Zoe that she felt sidelined or, worse, neglected. Zoe, juggling her own blossoming career, found herself in a precarious position, trying to reassure Lisa while also understanding Jason's perspective. She'd grown to respect him and didn't want to see the man who'd been so good to her siblings being vilified for working hard. At the same time, rumors emerged, none of them substantiated, about Jason's rapport with certain co-stars. While tabloids love to speculate on on-set romances, it wasn't the first time such rumors had circulated around a Hollywood leading man. Zoe had initially dismissed the chatter. She'd long ago learned to take tabloid gossip with a grain of salt, having grown up under the spotlight of her parents' reputations and reading her own share of outlandish press. But when Lisa began questioning the authenticity of Jason's denials, Zoe realized the swirling talk was affecting her mother on a deeper, more personal level than she'd initially assumed. It wasn't necessarily about believing or disbelieving gossip. It was about trust, emotional security, and the feeling that Jason's priorities were shifting away from home. Yet no one truly expected a public breakup, least of all Zoe. When Jason and Lisa announced their separation in early 2022 via a joint statement on social media, it sent shockwaves through not only their fan communities but the entire entertainment industry. The statement spoke about seismic shifts and transformational times, language that was both poetic and opaque. Privately, Zoe was torn between sadness for her mother and a sense of loyalty to Jason, who she still considered a significant figure in her life. She also worried about her younger siblings, who had been so used to having both parents under one roof, co-creating the warm family vibe that had become a staple of Instagram feeds around the world. Almost immediately, speculation ran rampant. Some fans insisted Lisa was done putting up with Jason's hectic schedule, calling him a workaholic who prioritized his career over his family. Others pointed fingers at Lisa, implying she was controlling or unsupportive of Jason's ambitions. The reality, of course, was far more complex. Zoe, at least from what insiders say, understood that this was a marriage tested not by a single dramatic betrayal, but by a growing, compounding sense of distance, emotional and physical. Though many wanted a smoking gun or a scandalous confession, the real story was a slow unraveling. Two people who loved each other dearly, but found themselves being pulled in vastly different directions. Zoe's role in this period was multifaceted. As an adult child of divorce, her parents Lisa and Lenny split years before. She possessed a keen awareness of how breakups can impact everyone involved, including extended family. She tried to be a source of comfort for her younger siblings, reassuring them that their dad still loved them deeply, even if he was no longer living in the same home. Simultaneously, she became an ear for Lisa to vent her frustrations that Lisa kept mostly private from the public. Insiders claimed Zoe felt intense pressure, worried that any advice she offered might inadvertently deepen the rift or create sides within the family. In interviews, Zoe often skirted direct questions about her mother and stepfather's relationship. She typically expressed love for both, praising Lisa's unwavering individuality and Jason's big heart. Still, fans reading between the lines could sense a certain hesitancy, as though Zoe was reluctant to share more than a carefully measured response. Some interpreted that as mere caution. Others saw it as a sign that there was more turmoil behind the scenes than the family wanted the world to see. But while the public statement about the divorce was polite, amicable, and even hopeful, later events indicated deeper tensions. Reliable sources began hinting at behind-the-scenes conflicts. Allegedly, Jason felt Lisa hadn't fully supported his Hollywood climb, resenting her for not traveling with him or actively participating in the star-studded lifestyle. Lisa, for her part, felt the man she married had morphed into someone she no longer recognized, overshadowed by red carpets, exotic filming locations, and the frenzy that comes with blockbuster success. Zoe, caught in the middle, tried to remain neutral. It wasn't that she disagreed with her mother's perspective, but she also saw firsthand how hard Jason worked for his successes, remembering him from years before he became a household name. Naturally, fans began to wonder, Did Zoe see the split coming? According to rumors, she wasn't entirely blindsided. She had sensed the tension for some time, but like many close to the couple, she held out hope they'd find a workable solution. After all, Lisa and Jason had navigated challenges before, ranging from pregnancy announcements to major career transitions. Each time, they managed to circle back to a mutual respect that seemed unbreakable. Even so, love doesn't always survive endless conflict. Sometimes, even the strongest ties loosen, and Zoe recognized the heartbreak that ensues when two people realize they can't get back to what they once were. The initial months after the announcement were hushed. Jason and Lisa largely avoided public spats, focusing on co-parenting. They released gentle, almost philosophical statements about growth and transformation, leaning heavily on introspective language that both had long embraced. Despite ongoing speculation, there were no tabloid photo ops of explosive confrontations or messy custody battles. If anything, they seemed united in protecting Lola and Nakoa Wolf from the typical media feeding frenzy that devours many celebrity splits. Zoe also kept her thoughts about the divorce guarded, granting interviews about her acting and style, but steering clear of the personal drama. Still, cracks emerged in the veneer. Rumors circulated that Lisa was struggling behind closed doors, that the emotional toll of the separation left her reevaluating not just her relationship with Jason, but her entire life trajectory. While she'd always struck people as a calm, introspective soul, the shift in her marriage forced her to confront how deeply she'd relied on that partnership. Insiders whispered that Zoe was one of her strongest pillars of support during this time, offering encouragement and gently reminding her mother that rediscovering independence could be empowering, not merely frightening. Viewers might wonder if Zoe felt any resentment toward Jason. Sources close to the family say she maintained a genuine fondness for him. After all, he had welcomed her as part of a larger family tapestry, treating her not as a burdensome stepdaughter, but as a full-fledged part of the household. He cheered on her successes, from her band Lola Wolf to her roles in films like Mad Max, Fury Road, and The Batman. Even so, Zoe reportedly struggled to reconcile the Jason she knew, devoted, loving, and warm, with the Jason who seemed increasingly absent due to film shoots and possibly enthralled by the glamour of stardom. Another layer in this story was Lenny Kravitz. Zoe's father and Lisa's ex Lenny and Jason publicly formed a famously brotherly bond, exchanging playful jabs on social media and showing mutual admiration that everyone found refreshing. Some fans romanticize this as the pinnacle of modern families, where exes got along brilliantly, children thrived, and new partners integrated seamlessly. Yet, beneath that shining example of cooperation, there were murmurs of tension. Jason privately felt uneasy about the closeness between Lisa and her ex Lisa. For her part, valued Lenny's presence and considered him family, an arrangement that apparently never sat entirely well with Jason. Zoe, who cherished both her father and Jason, became a mediator in small but meaningful ways, quietly smoothing out friction whenever possible. One insider said, "Zoe's been doing this her entire life. Playing peacemaker is second nature." But no amount of peacemaking can fully resolve incompatibilities that strike at the heart of a marriage. By the time the divorce proceedings truly ramped up in 2024, Lisa and Jason had already carved out separate lives. Lisa retreated further into her private world, focusing on writing, photography, and spiritual introspection. Jason embraced film and television projects that took him around the globe, forging new networks, and exploring philanthropic efforts aimed at ocean conservation. The quiet settlement they reached, opting out of messy public legal battles, caught some by surprise, especially those who'd become accustomed to drama-laden Hollywood splits. Yet the outward calm might have disguised a great deal of latent hurt and emotional exhaustion. Zoe, by then, was juggling her own responsibilities. Her star had risen considerably. She'd landed major acting roles, produced projects, and even directed. In interviews, she exuded confidence and clarity of purpose, qualities she attributed to both her mother and father, each icons in their own right. But behind that poise, she frequently worried about the emotional well-being of her half-siblings. Lola and Nakoa Wolf were still young enough to be deeply affected by the changes at home. Reports indicate that Zoe stepped up, ensuring she was there for them, FaceTiming regularly, inviting them to her sets, or spending weekends with them to provide stability. What truly fascinated fans was how quietly Lisa and Jason managed to keep many of the most painful details. Unlike divorces mired in public revelations of wrongdoing or financial disputes, this one seemed, at least outwardly, more of a mutual decision to part ways. Zoe's perspective. It was the product of irreconcilable life paths. Jason wanted to chase global stardom at full speed. Lisa desired a more reflective, grounded existence. They'd bridged that gap for years, but eventually, the separation between them expanded until it felt unbridgeable. Despite the heartbreak, Lisa and Jason appear to have maintained a commitment to co-parenting. Even post-divorce, they made efforts to be seen together at significant events for the kids. Some fans interpreted this as proof that their amicable front wasn't just a show. Others suspected tension simmered beneath the surface, softened only by the presence of their children and shared loved ones like Zoe, who had her own vested interest in seeing the family remain functional. In a rare candid moment, Zoe hinted that sometimes love changes shape but never truly disappears, an observation that many took as a reflection on the bond Jason and Lisa still shared. One question frequently posed online is whether Zoe ended up taking sides. It's a complicated notion, especially for adult children of divorce who love both parents. From all indications, Zoe declined to see the breakup as an us versus them scenario. She remained supportive of Lisa's journey to reclaim her personal happiness, praising her mom's decision to stand firm in her convictions and not lose herself in someone else's ambitions. Equally, Zoe never publicly shamed Jason or questioned the authenticity of his feelings for her mother. On social media, she still sporadically liked or commented on Jason's posts about environmental causes or behind-the-scenes glimpses from his sets. She even shared a photo or two with him at gatherings for Lola and Nakoa Wolf, ensuring that fans knew the family ties weren't severed beyond repair. As for the rumored dark side of the divorce, allegations about arguments, frustration over Lenny's continued presence in Lisa's life, or possible emotional manipulation, Zoe hasn't addressed them directly. Close friends say she's adept at compartmentalizing, an essential skill for surviving the glare of paparazzi and the rumor mill. She's confided to a few people that the reality is less dramatic than tabloids want to believe, but also more painful than the public might realize. Two truths can coexist, she reportedly told a friend. There can be no monstrous wrongdoing, yet still be enough hurt to break something that once felt unbreakable. Ultimately, Zoe's stance is that this chapter is about growth for everyone. She's watched her mother transform under adversity, discovering new passions and reconnecting with old ones. She's seen Jason stretch himself career-wise, exploring philanthropic pursuits that align with his deep love for nature, water, and native Hawaiian culture. She also acknowledges that heartbreak can be a catalyst for change, forcing people to reevaluate their priorities and consider what truly matters. In that sense, maybe the divorce, while painful, was a necessary step for both Lisa and Jason to continue evolving on paths that better suited their individual needs. From the vantage point of a star in her own right, Zoe remains a fascinating figure in this story. Someone with intimate knowledge who also stands somewhat apart, bridging her mother's world, her father Lenny's, and Jason's new trajectory. She's never publicly condemned or praised the divorce, likely recognizing that both her mother and Jason have their perspectives, each valid in its own way. Instead, she's chosen a kind of gracious neutrality, respecting the deep love that once existed, supporting the current reality that it's over, and focusing on keeping her siblings and mother emotionally supported. Now, as you think about the complex web of relationships that formed around Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa, consider what Zoe's story tells us about the nuanced realities of modern families. Have you ever found yourself trying to mediate between parents, siblings, or step-parents? If so, share your experiences or thoughts in the comments. Real-world families often face similar hurdles, maybe without the paparazzi, but certainly with the emotional stakes just as high. Would you, like Zoe, strive to stay neutral, or would you pick a side to defend a loved one who might feel wronged? This divorce reminds us that no matter how picture-perfect a relationship may seem from the outside, internal challenges can accumulate until there's no turning back. Sometimes it's a single catastrophic event, an affair, a betrayal, a moment of deep disrespect. Other times, it's the slow burn of shifting goals and unaddressed resentments. Either way, the result is heartbreak. Yet heartbreak can also birth new beginnings. For Lisa, that's meant delving deeper into personal projects and continuing to shield her younger children from Hollywood chaos. For Jason, it's an opportunity to balance fame with authenticity, a test to see if he can truly remain the free-spirited, family-oriented man he once was, now that the glare of stardom is brighter than ever. And for Zoe, it's a testament to her resilience. Growing up in one high-profile split, Lisa and Lenny's, and now witnessing another, she seems to have emerged with wisdom beyond her years. She's forging ahead in her own career, exploring her passions in film, music, and beyond. Most importantly, she's maintained meaningful relationships with each parent figure in her life, showcasing a level of grace that resonates with fans who, too, have navigated complex family structures. Perhaps that's part of what makes Zoe Kravitz such a compelling celebrity figure. She's relatable in her challenges and unwavering in her commitment to the people she loves. That doesn't mean the road has been easy. Reports indicate that she occasionally battles with guilt or second-guesses how she might have stepped in earlier. Could she have helped Lisa and Jason see each other's perspectives before it was too late? Did she inadvertently encourage Jason to pursue bigger roles, not realizing it would pull him further away from home? Did she reassure her mom a little too confidently that the rumors of infidelity or a drifting marriage were just Hollywood noise? There are no definitive answers. Life is messy, family dynamics even more so. Still, the future remains open. Jason remains devoted to his children. Lisa continues to chart her own course, free from the demands of a high-profile marriage. Zoe stands at a vantage point that allows her to maintain love for both, encouraging them to find personal fulfillment, reminding them that, at the end of the day, they share a family and a history. That connectivity doesn't vanish just because the romance ends. In time, perhaps we'll see them at gatherings celebrating milestones for Lola and Nakoa Wolf, with Zoe standing in the middle, smiling and supporting them all. If there's one takeaway from this story, it's that real life rarely fits the neat narrative arcs we crave. Love stories aren't always forever, and even the amicable divorces can harbor regrets and tension beneath the surface. Children, whether they're minors or grown adults like Zoe, feel the ripples of that split, often contending with loyalty conflicts and heartbreak of their own. But families do find new equilibria. People heal, and sometimes stepping apart paves the way for everyone to become more of who they're meant to be. So, what do you think about Zoe Kravitz's insider perspective on Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa's divorce? Was she just an innocent bystander? Or did her presence play a more significant part in how events unfolded? Do you believe she could have influenced them differently? Or was this split inevitable, no matter how much love and goodwill existed? For more of the latest news, check out this video.